Raw meat. What's up, buddy? Nice to catch you before bedtime. I had you in mind when I made this stream, man. Because I felt bad. I'm always streaming at like 2 a.m. Your time or whatever. So, what's up, Brandon Johnson? Good afternoon, man. H to Human, how you doing? Good to see you again. Hero back. Hero is always back in full effect. This is wild king salmon. Gracias. Thank you, sir. Thank you. There we go. Just thought I'd do like an early supper today, you know, try to catch some people during the day. Because I know some people aren't available, like eat raw meat. It's not available late at night, you know, so might catch some new people on the weekend here. Yo, AR says stellar beard. Thank you, man. Yeah, I'm letting it roll out. I'm letting it rock for a while. We'll see how crazy I let it get. I'm not afraid to let it go. The thing about beards is you got to figure out how to sculpt it right, you know? Otherwise you just look like the Unabomber, you know what I mean? But you got to figure out how to trim it up right. And so yeah, I'm going to try to figure out some things with that. Because last time I grew my beard out, it just got insane. All right, Nero, maybe catch you later. Yeah, I'm gonna try to go for a couple hours because I might not be able to stream tonight. They don't lie when they say this king salmon like melts like butter in your mouth, man. It really does. Eat Raw Meat says, is the Unabomber Manifesto worth reading? Yes, it is. Yeah. I'm not scared to read it on my stream. You guys want to read it right now? Some of this stuff... Actually, I don't know if I can... Yeah, we'll check it out some other time. But yeah, definitely look into that, man. Don't believe everything that the media says about that guy. He obviously was mentally ill, and he shouldn't bomb people. But... his ideas were like super on point. But yeah, it's definitely it's worth checking out for sure. It's not what you think it is. Like on face value, from what you hear from the media, you think it would just be like a bunch of undecipherable scrawlings of a madman. But it's like some of the most well articulated stuff I've ever read in my life. It really blew my mind. That's one of the first times I started questioning the media. I was like, but the guy is really high IQ, so he's going to be able to articulate himself fairly well. But yeah, he kind of failed. The Unabomber failed the test, basically. Like, anytime you resort to violence, you failed the test. You know? At least when it comes to violence on other humans, you know? Violence on animals is necessary because you got to eat. But anytime you've resorted to violence on other humans, you've definitely failed the test. Hero says, them good fish oils upon the salmon clear you up, man. Yeah. The stuff, like you were saying, was it Ogenus said that fish goes straight to your brain? And it really feels like this stuff does, man. When I eat these omegas, it goes straight to my brain. Eat raw meat. Says if the media says he's bad, then it's worth looking into. Basically. And he was like real anti-technology, you know? Just the whole story of that guy is just amazing. He was an MK Ultra patient. They basically nuked his brain on LSD doing mind control experiments, and he had like a astronomically high IQ. Moved to a shack in the woods, started bombing people, which is crazy. Don't get me wrong, that's insane. But I mean, the guy's ultimately like a victim from all the LSD doses they gave him. The MK Ultra stuff is really weird. Beyond me. Hey, what's up? I'm jealous of your salmon. Yeah, man, it's expensive stuff. It's really expensive. That's why I try to only eat like a pound of this stuff. I want to eat like a pound a week because I think that's probably like the best for you. But dang, it's like $28 a pound. Yeah, this is wild caught, man, for sure. At least they tell me. But I can tell because it looks totally different than the farm stuff. It's got fat in it, but it's not like super thick fat lines. But it's fairly thick stuff. You can tell there. Brandon Johnson says, streamlabs.com/carnivore life. Yeah, thanks, man. I'm pretty sure that does go to my Streamlabs account. I need to change that to natural human diet. Let's see what Wikipedia says about Ted Kaczynski. Let's see if they mention anything about MK Ultra, or if they just completely vilify him. Ted Kaczynski. Theodore John Kaczynski, also known as the Unabomber, American domestic terrorist, anarchist, and former mathematics professor. He was a mathematics prodigy, but he abandoned an academic career in 1969 to pursue a primitive lifestyle. Between 1978 and 1995, he killed 3 people and injured 23 others in an attempt to start a revolution by conducting a nationwide bombing campaign. That's crazy, man. Targeting people involved with modern technology. Does it say anything about the MK Ultra stuff? They just like skipped right over that. Childhood. His IQ is 167, man. That's up there, dude. That is up there. High school, Harvard. Psychological study, here you go. Hang on a sec. As a sophomore, Kaczynski participated in a study described by author Alston Chase as a purposely brutalizing psychological experiment led by Harvard psychologist Henry Murray. Subjects were told they would be debating personal philosophy with a fellow student and were asked to write essays detailing their personal beliefs and aspirations. The essays were turned over to an anonymous attorney who in a later session would confront and belittle the subject, making vehement, sweeping, and personally abusive attacks, using the content of the essays as ammunition, while electrodes monitoring the subject's physiological reactions. These encounters were filmed, and the subject's expressions of anger and rage were later played back to them repeatedly. Whoa. The experiment lasted 3 years, with someone verbally abusing and humiliating Kaczynski each week. Oh, man. Kaczynski spent 200 hours as part of the study. These guys made the Unabomber, dude. These guys created the Unabomber. Good lord. Kaczynski's lawyers later attributed his hostility towards mind control techniques to his participation in Murray's study. Some sources have suggested that Murray's experiments were part of the Project MK Ultra, the CIA's research into mind control. Right. I think they probably left out that they were dosing these people on LSD while they were doing this stuff to them. That's insane, dude. Yep. Interesting stuff, man. Interesting stuff. It was his brother that turned him in. His own brother. Maven Taylor says, have you read any James Joyce? No, I haven't. What's James Joyce all about? Hero says, I heard from a friend that mathematics is actually not real. It's just made up by people. It doesn't actually mean anything. The neural links to mathematics is programmed and unnatural. I was thinking about that. As I started kind of getting red pilled on everything is like fake and bullshit, especially in the school system. I was pretty good at math. I was actually really good at math. And so I have like a really deep understanding of numbers and all that stuff too. But I could have went very, very far in mathematics if I wanted to, but I just decided not to because there was just I guess God had other plans for me. And I started thinking about that though, the different directions that my life could have went if I would have like basically devoted all my life to school, which is what my family wanted me to do, and everybody in my family wanted me to just go to college and get a degree because that's what they thought I was meant to do that. But I was just thinking about that, and I was like, if I would have done that, I wouldn't have discovered this diet. I wouldn't have discovered this whole new life for myself. And I would have been basically like just my brain would have been in a jar in some sort of mathematics institute or something, It's like just insane. So yeah, I agree, man. Like, I think math might be bullshit because if you're living on a homestead, milking goats with your family, praising God, doing the right things, not, just being a good person, what does all this deep mathematics have to do with anything, I know a bunch of people that have taken calculus 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, it just goes all the way up, and it's like, do you really think you're going to use that shit, Eat Raw Meat says, and like all killing rampages covered by the media, there's so much stuff that doesn't add up. Seems like a government setup. Yeah, they're really trying to divert the attention away from the evils of the government, and they're trying to make it seem like it's the people doing it, I'm trying to distract. It's definitely a huge distraction. They want to create, it's basically a scapegoat. That's the best way to explain it, so I'm trying to say. They're trying to make Ted Kaczynski the scapegoat for all the evil in the world, The world is a perfect place. The government loves you and they take care of you, but be careful about those weird bearded guys that live in shacks and send bombs to people, And it's like, well, those guys don't exist. The only reason they do exist is because you fried his head in an MK Ultra experiment, you know what I mean? So it's a scapegoat. Beach Fitnesses took a while. I studied computer science and mathematics at the university. So did I. I did the same thing, man. Beach Fitness took a while to unlearn all that garbage. Then I moved to South America and bought a farm. Beautiful. Yeah, that's where I'm headed. Maybe not South America, but I'm headed to the farm life. Yeah. Yeah, I went to UNL, University of Nebraska at Lincoln for computer science. I was going to calculus classes at 6 a.m. in the morning and stuff. And it was the most unnatural setting I've ever been in my life. I was more depressed at that time in my life than I've ever been in my whole life. Going to college. Now, I didn't even read your comment before I said that, Hero. Hero says, I had a friend who was a math genius and he killed himself because he was always depressed. That's my uncle Paul, my great uncle Paul, committed suicide. He was like the nicest guy ever, man. Like, just one of those guys, just like, kind of had that grandpa vibe to him, real good, just a nice Nebraska dude, you know what I mean? Going to my Aunt Mary Jean's house for Thanksgiving. Uncle Paul's there, always smiling. Then I found out he committed suicide. And they opened up like this box that he had like locked up. And inside this box, he had this like super complex like math problem that he was working on. And it was one of these like, there's these like unsolvable math problems that you can look up that people still haven't been able to solve like today. And he was like working on this math problem, you know? And then he ended up like committing suicide, and it's just really weird shit, man. Eat Raw Meat says, did he send bombs in packets? It was in like packages. Yeah, he sent them to like technology companies. Eat Raw Meat, was the bombed house also bombed with a package bomb? Yeah, it was a package bomb. Ziggy, I've seen you haven't eaten red meat in a while. You're out of curiosity, where are you getting your iron from since you strayed away? I ate some red meat this week when I wasn't streaming. So I had some chuck roast for dinner about 3 times this week. So I'm just really like alternating between red meat chicken, red meat chicken. I'm getting the iron in though. Eat Raw Meat says, the house they show when they talk about him, multiple stories. I thought he had like a little shack. I wasn't aware that he had a multiple story house. T. Mueller, I made Audrey's recipe for one of my toddlers. Raw milk, raw liver, and raw egg yolk, and he really liked it. Do you think I should add the whites? If you can blend it in there, sure, you know, but sometimes adding whites in makes it kind of hard to mix together, and it makes it a little, you know, like mucusy, I guess, like kind of slimy. Like I find the whites, it's not as good in the milkshakes if I put the whites in. So you can experiment with it, but I don't think it's really necessary. Eat Raw Meat says, always smiling, that's a first sign of depression. That does make sense, doesn't it? The smiling conspiracy. Hero says, dude, same with my friend Andre. He was on that unsolvable math problem. Same thing. Isn't that a weird thing to tackle? You know, like what would man? That just sounds depressing, doesn't it? You know, like you're so removed from nature and just from a natural life that you want to just sit in your room and work on math problems. Really weird. Hero says it's because we're creatures who want to find meaning, and math is meaningless. So if you get too deep, you lose all meaning because you understand it's meaningless. I assume that's what happened to Andre. Yeah, that does make sense. You're getting like too into the weeds. Eat Raw Meat says, holy crap, what kind of explosive did he use? The whole house was messed up just by one package. Damn. The multiple story house he bombed. I'm not aware of that one, man. I'll have to look up the information on that. I wasn't sure he blew up like a huge house. I didn't know about that. I thought he was just trying to injure people. I don't eat raw meat. I don't even know how there can be math problems. Shouldn't math be clean? Yeah, it should be. It should be. I think what's going on there is people are getting too into the weeds. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't understand. I've looked into the unsolvable math problems thing, you know. There was a point in my life where I was getting too attached to my own ego and intellect, and I was like, I'm so smart, I'm going to do the unsolvable math problems, you know. And I just like looked at a couple of them and I was like, nah, never mind. That looks retarded. But yeah, it's crazy. It's almost like the Schrodinger's cat thing. You guys ever seen the Schrodinger's cat? Maybe we can watch a video on that real quick. That's one I got tripped out on for a while. Let's see if it still has any meaning. Let's see if this video still has any meaning now that I'm on raw primal and I've been like red pilled and all this stuff. Yeah, I think here's the one that I watched. Alright, some of you guys have probably already seen this, but this is like an interesting thought experiment. And like, this is like, I don't know. This is almost like listening to like Alan Watts or something like that. It's like one of those things that like, it's an interesting thought experiment, but does it really have any purpose or anything like that? You know what I mean? So, I don't know. Let me know what you guys think of this. I was like really like fascinated with this concept when I first came across it, but let's see if it's bullshit.
This wouldn't be a YouTube channel without a cat video, so without further ado, we present Schrodinger's cat. I'm sure you've heard some version of this famous thought experiment. You put a cat in a bunker with some unstable gunpowder that has a 50% chance of blowing up in the next minute, and a 50% chance of doing nothing. The gunpowder is Einstein's version. Schrodinger preferred poisonous gas. But whatever. So until we look in the bunker, we don't know whether the cat is dead or alive. And when we do look, it is either dead or alive. So if we repeat the experiment enough times with enough cats and bunkers and gunpowder, we'll see that half the time, Kitty survives, and half the time, Kitty goes bye-bye. The quantum mechanical interpretation is that before we look, the cat is in a superposition. It's both dead and alive. And our act of looking forces nature's decision. So our curiosity kills the cat. But what about the cat's perspective? Well, the cat either sees the gunpowder explode or not. So inside the bunker, we actually have these two possibilities. The powder explodes and the cat sees it explode, or the powder doesn't explode and the cat doesn't see it explode. There's no option, the powder explodes and the cat doesn't see it explode. So the cat's reality becomes entangled with the outcome of the experiment. And it's our observation of the experiment that forces nature to collapse to one option or the other. But we're like the cat too. Either the cat dies and we see it dead, or the cat lives and we see it alive. So who's observing us to force nature to collapse to one reality? Or do both possibilities happen in parallel within a larger multiverse? This collapsing to one reality problem is one of the biggest unanswered questions in quantum physics. So for Kitty's sake, can I has answer please?
So I would say the answer is God. That's like I used to, before I like believed in God, I was like, yo, man, that's such a mind-blowing experiment. Who's observing us? It's like, God, of course. So it's just like these stupid little mind experiments are like, they're taking like God out of the equation. And when you take God out of the equation, it creates these paradoxes that don't make any sense. It's so stupid. It's the dumbest thing ever. But I think I was smoking way too much pot back when I watched that video, and I was like, oh, that's so cool. What a cool thought experiment. It's got 6 million views. That's like just, it's a famous thought experiment. Schrodinger's cat says thinking is bullshit. I mean, who cares about the cat? Why would you even put a cat in a box with something that can hurt it? Yeah, no, man. It's kind of evil, isn't it? It's like an evil thought experiment. Eat raw meat, or why don't you just look in the box? Those kinds of things are to drive you crazy. Yeah, it should drive you nuts, dude. Donut says, or Donut? My theory is that the fifth dimension is every possible way how the world could evolve over time. That basically every possibility exists. There might be some truth to that. There may be some truth to that. Maybe not. There may be just this dimension. Maxim, hey, do you consume raw honey? Yes, I do. Yeah, I drink milk and honey now before I go to bed. So I actually have been skipping my milkshakes in the morning because I'm just not really hungry in the mornings. I found, and I'll just eat like a lunch and dinner. But instead of drinking my milkshake in the morning, I'll drink some milk and honey before I go to bed, and I've been sleeping pretty good. Yeah, Jeremy R. nailed it. Foundational purpose of science is to hide the existence of God. Yeah. Isn't that experiment like easily explained by God is observing us? Man. Hero says it's basically the experiment that created quantum physics, but now people are rethinking that stuff. That stuff just gives me a headache, dude. Now I know what people say, or what they mean when they used to say stuff like that. Like, oh man, that just gives me a headache. I would always want to tackle like crazy concepts like that, you know? Because I'm like, nothing can stop me. I'm an intellectual powerhouse, you know? But like, I swear, the more you get into this stuff and the more you study intellectual concepts, no matter how high your IQ is, man, it's going to drive you crazy. Hero says, I've been reading this book on Toot saying that we basically choose what to do with our own self-confidence. I think the Pythagorean theorem got more to do with it. Our willpower is the hypotenuse. I don't believe in free will, though, so I'm not sure what to make of that. Eat Raw Meat says, now that you say milk and honey, isn't there a story about the land of milk and honey, like it's the paradise? Oh, yeah. Yeah, I was thinking about calling this the milk and honey stream if I do these like during the day now. Cryo says, you look significantly brighter and healthy today. Whatever changes you've made lately seems like it's a good one. It's called sunshine, my friends. It's called the sunshine. When I say we don't get any sun in Nebraska through the winter, we get like no sun. So you basically like die a little bit here. And every winter you just kind of die a little bit. And then in the springtime it like brings you back to life. What's up, Luna DC? Maxim, I'm on primal diet since 1 month and 2 weeks now, but I'm really overweight and I don't lose weight. Maybe I should avoid raw honey and milk for the moment and focus on meat and fat. You know, Ajahn has said that when you first start the diet, you want to get fat like a baby, because basically we're babies when we first start the diet. So, but being really overweight, yeah, that's bad. But I think I would just continue with the diet, and I think slowly you're probably going to shed some of that, but you're going to replace that cooked fat you have in your body with raw fat. So your body will probably just slowly replace, like cell by cell, all of that fat. You'll probably notice that over time it's going to be really subtle, but your size will change, and you'll probably lose a little bit of weight. But yeah, maybe I would just eat what you crave, but definitely probably start out cutting carbs for the moment. And maybe just eat red meats and eggs and maybe a little bit of butter. Go from there. Eat raw meat says, in German there is something called Eierlegende Wollmilchsau. It's a fictional animal that can lay eggs, has wool, produces milk, and is a pig for meat. So in one animal you have almost everything. Interesting. That sounds cool. Yo AR says it was meant to drive you crazy. It's misdirection from God. Yeah, isn't that nuts? Yeah, I think Hero might have nailed the math thing. Hero says not free will, but our willpower, our willingness to live and to keep going. Willpower comes from God. Yeah, I could see that. That makes more sense. French carnivore, dude. It's so easy to cut on raw primal with zero carb. It's stupid. Yeah, dude, you almost get too lean if you go zero carb, for sure. Yeah, you could try cutting out milk for the moment, you know what I mean? Because milk is going to really fatten you up. When I cut milk out and I was just doing steaks, when I was on the whole, like, stupid carnivore thing, not to say that carnivores are stupid, but, you know, I was just doing the whole, like, Sean Baker method, you know, like eating ribeyes, organic ribeyes. I almost lost too much weight, so I got back to a much healthier weight when I started eating milk and cheese and all that good stuff. Froya says it's a gorgeous day today, beautiful and sunny. Yes, it is. I know. That's why can't stream too long today because I got to get outside, get some of that sunshine. Eat raw meat, sunshine, lollipops, and rainbows. Everything that's wonderful is what I feel when we're together. Did you eat some mushrooms today? Jason Smith, do you believe in macroevolution, like humans to monkeys and such? I do not at all. No, definitely not. That's definitely all bullshit, from what I can see. No, it makes much more sense to me that we were all created by the same thing. And so that's why by design that we look very similar to monkeys and stuff like that. But it's when you take a God out of the equation and you ignore the fact that maybe the same designer would have designed things similarly, then you start thinking, oh, maybe we came from monkeys. That's what happened. Like, doesn't make much sense. Freya says your doggos are peeking behind you. Are they? They are down there, huh? What are you doing, buddy? What are you doing? I should feed these guys for you right now, huh? I think I might do that. Let's do a little dog feed stream here. Sit. Ashley, stay here. Stay here. Alright, I don't normally feed my dogs stuff like this, like these like nice cuts like this, but this is some free frozen stuff that I got. So, and this is a chicken carcass that I'm gonna give my dog here. So you get that, you get that. I could get out of the way so you guys could see him, but see him work on that thing. But he eats that chicken pretty quick, man. Here, eat it over here, buddy. Eat it over here. Eat it right there. Let you guys watch my dogs eat. So usually when I get one of those whole chickens, I'll cut off like as much meat as I can, and then I'll give him just the carcass. I feel bad because I think that was honestly, I alternate between giving them the chickens, and I think that was her turn to get the chicken, and I accidentally gave that to him, but oh well, I'll give it to her next time. I know, you didn't get the chicken, I know. She's like, I wanted that thing, man. You wanted that chicken, huh? Oh well, she got like, basically like a pot roast, so she'll be alright. Jason Smith says, I agree 100% with your take on the monkey question. How about the out of Africa theory that says all our answers came out of Africa? I also do not believe that one. I've never thought about that one, but you know what? I may start to question that one too. Hero says, my dog had puppies last Sunday. It's so cute. Check them out on my channel. Yeah, Hero had some Pitskis. Yeah, his videos are awesome, man. It shows his puppies like nursing and stuff. It's really cool. Froya says, oh no, not on the carpet. Hey, I know. These guys, they're barbarians. I just let them make all these messes. But she ate the bloody one really quick, so I knew she would, so that's why I didn't really care. I obviously don't want a bunch of blood on the carpet, but the chicken is dry, basically. It's been aging in my fridge for like a week. So there's no juices or anything like that. It's just... And they eat it so quick, too. It's like there's no chance for it to like ruin everything, you know? Beyond Me says, how much does it cost to feed your dogs in a day? Really cheap, man. Like, all that, like, beef that I gave her, I got, like, 100 pounds for free from my boss because it was, like, frozen for, like, 10 years and he didn't want it anymore. Actually turned out, like, still good. So that was all free. But my typical meals for those guys, I get these, like, big 10-pound tubes of hamburger from Walmart, and it's $2 a pound. And so I give them, usually, I was giving them a pound a day, but I think that's a little much for these guys because I eat a pound of meat every day. But then again, I eat stuff on top of that. So I usually give them about a pound of 70% to 30% ratio hamburger with like one egg. And it comes out to about $2 a piece per day. So it's about $4 a day total, which is about $120 a month. And that's like a lot cheaper than what I was paying for when I was buying like really good like canned dog food and stuff like that. Like the fancy stuff. That stuff is way more expensive than raw meat. It's surprising how fast he works through that carcass, man. Yeah, they're happy for sure. They love eating their raw meat, man. That's what keeps these guys so well behaved and well tempered. Because they just get fed, they get spoiled. Syndicate, have you tried raw beef lungs? No, I haven't. I'm not really sure where to get that, but I would like to try that. Luna says lungs are nice with butter. Interesting. Donut says, do they also eat organs? It's hard to get really good organs, so they don't eat a lot of organs, no. I'm not 100% convinced on the organ thing. Because like I ate a bunch of liver when I first started this diet. I was eating like a couple pounds a week, you know what I mean? And now I don't crave liver at all, and I don't need liver at all, it seems like. So I'm not sure what to make of the organ meat thing. I know they're good for you, they're beneficial, stuff like that, but I just don't know how often we would have actually been eating those things. It seems like most of the books I've read and the evidence is pointing towards the organs went towards certain people in the tribe rather than everybody was eating organs all the time. It doesn't make sense, you know, if you had like a tribe of, I don't know, 20, 30, 40, 50 people, not everybody's going to eat the liver, you know what I'm saying? So I just think eat what you crave, you know, go from there. Hero says, dude, I gave my dog a chicken carcass last week. Yesterday she came back with half a chicken. She's been stealing chickens from the neighbor. Careful, man. Hopefully your neighbor doesn't shoot your dog. Mistake it for a coyote. Donut says, what's your favorite food? My favorite food... King salmon is up there, man. King salmon is really up there, but I really like raw oysters. I really, really, really like that stuff, man. So I would say I mean, steak, obviously beef steak is obviously my favorite food, but beyond beef steak, it's probably gonna be raw oysters or raw milk. It's probably a tie between raw milk and raw oysters. Eat raw meat says how if the FBI would raid your house, they would find raw meat, rotten meat, books on fasting, Unabomber manifesto, a PC full of red pill topics. Yeah, no shit. Exactly. And hopefully that's it. Jar says the hunters ate the organs. Yeah, that makes sense. Because it's fresh, you probably want to eat it fresh. That's so primal when they're like growling while they're eating. You're such a savage, buddy. What you got there? You got chicken, huh? Got yourself a chicken. Did you hunt that all yourself? Huh? Where'd your brother get that chicken, huh? I know, he got it last time. I forgot. I'm sorry. It should have been yours. I know. I know. You'll get another one. You got pot roast, though. You got pot roast. You're good. My dog is mad at me. She's like, that was my chicken, man. Jason Smith, you might have filled up your stores of vitamins from the liver and you don't need it for a long time. That's exactly what I feel happened. Either that or the liver re-healed my liver. Because I had a feeling that I had liver damage from just all of the shit that I've been through in my life. You know what I mean? And I just had a feeling, you know what I mean? So I think that liver just probably healed my liver and also fulfilled the nutrient stores, and I just don't need it anymore. Luna says, I don't know, I think it's definitely good organs, but yeah, just with other meat. Yeah. Yeah, organs are good. Like, my favorite is probably beef heart, which is more like a muscle and an organ mixed together. That's definitely my favorite. Hero says, not letting my dog out since that because I don't want her to get shot. Yeah, dude, they'll probably definitely shoot your dog. Cindy K, can someone explain to me the actual health benefits of high meat? The idea, I believe, is that psychological problems and depression and stuff like that come from, this is one of the benefits, come from low E. coli in the small intestine. And so eating like fermented meat is going to help populate your intestine with E. coli, which is going to help mitigate like psychological problems. Ajahn has said a lot of people were able to get off of psychiatric medication by eating high meat, believe it or not. So that's definitely a major health benefit there. Also, it greatly enhances the vitamin K by fermenting it. And also, what it's doing basically is pre-digesting the liver for you. So when it becomes high, it's basically digested by its own bacteria. And so when you put it in your mouth, in your stomach, you don't have to use any of your digestive processes to get all the nutrients out of the liver. It's already available to you, so you get basically it's like an instant nutrition boost without any digestive processes. So your body can devote its processes to other things in your body, like healing and repairing and stuff, instead of digesting all the time. Man, I didn't realize the gun laws were weird in California, huh? Man. Aries Princess says, why do raw meat eaters hardly ever smile? I got one for you. Aries Princess. This is probably going to be way over your head. it is probably over a lot of people's head. That's no disrespect to you. I'm just saying this guy's very, very deep into shit. But this video is called The Smiling Conspiracy.
Go begin, my friend. Today, I will speak to you about what I call the smiling conspiracy. Now, when I tell people of this, the first reaction is dismissive. And then I show them the way they have dismissed it. And it then gets in. They understand. Then 1 or 2 days later, they forget it, they're angry, and they do not want to hear it anymore. I shall tell you the way I came to this understanding. I heard an art history lecture on this. You will all recognize it. Mona Lisa, the most famous painting in all history. Now why is it so famous? Have a close look. It is not a big painting. It's not necessarily a very good painting, but it is famous for this. The smile. What about the smile? You may say it's enigmatic. You may say it is subtle. But that is not the reason it is famous. It is famous for it is in 5,000 years of recorded human history. This picture is the first depiction of a human smiling that is not involved in violence, that is not insane or drunk. 4. Is she involved in violence? No. Is she drunk? No. Is she insane? Does not appear so. So why is she smiling like a crazy, drunken, violent person? This was the question everyone asked when they saw this abomination. Who would desire to be depicted in the evil act of smiling? For 5,000 years, from cave paintings through the Egyptian times, Roman, Greek, here, classical Greece. May we find someone? Pericles. Is he smiling? No. These athletes, no smiling or laughter going on, but they are happy. Not smiling, is she? Etruscans. These people are not smiling. Neither are these. For in fact, you will find it difficult to believe But for 5,000 years of human history, smiling and laughter were only reserved for the battlefield, for the torture chamber, and for anything unpleasant.
There you go. There's your red pill on smiling. Babies smile because they're just imitating their surroundings. The only true expression of joy is singing. Believe it or not. Yeah, the only reason babies smile is because they're learning to mimic your facial expressions and you're smiling at them. Martin O'Donnell says, my coworker laughs and smiles all the time. It's so annoying. Yeah, I bet. I bet. Eat Raw Meat says, he also says laughing is a warning sign like a dog bark. Wow. Aries Princess says, can you just smile for us then? I smile every once in a while. You guys will see me smile. But it's gotta be natural. Like yeah, it's such an interesting video, man. I truly believe what he's saying is like onto some really deep truths, man. Eat Raw Meat says, I also thought about why women always scream when startled or danger is near. Yeah. Luna says, I think a smile can behold way more than just happiness. It is a very complex expression. Yeah, it's like he was saying, it can it's like an expression of insanity. Eat Raw Meat says, I think it is to let the man around know something is up. Yeah, that definitely makes sense. Jason Smith, maybe what the Russian meant was that it's not normal for men to smile all the time. Yeah, basically. That's basically what he meant. It's just really interesting, man. Like it could be basically what he's hinting at is that it could be a cultural thing that we are learning from person to person, but it's not anything based on actual truth, you know? Eat Raw Meat says maybe there are different kinds of smiling and laughing. I don't know, man. I find it pretty mind-blowing. And especially when you think about humor, how humor is basically you're just laughing at the misfortune of others, you know? And so that's combined with smiling. So then you're like smiling at somebody, some kind of misfortune at other human beings. It's all really strange. Like humans we're always being influenced by evil. That's what you have to understand. Like no matter how, you know, there may be certain people in this world that have achieved this highest status of vibration and they're in tune with God and they're walking in the light at all times. But for the most part, most of us are constantly being influenced by the devil and by evil. And once you're aware of that, you see it everywhere. And I think that just it's so apparent when you see about how many people are laughing and smiling all the time and stuff. It's very interesting. But when he also says that the only true expression of joy is singing, you know what I mean? Like he was saying historically, you know, when men would express joy, they would break out in, you know, in expression of singing and loud singing, you know, like a big woohoo or whatever they do, whatever kind of a noise you make when you're just like super happy. That's actual joy. You know what I mean? It's not necessarily smiling. So there's a lot of truth to that too. Sean says that could be why people mostly laugh at so-called dark humor or irony. It doesn't have much to do with happiness, and when it is put on, it's only a mask to appeal to others. Yeah. Aries Princess says, okay, why do you talk with a monotone voice, same as Gotis? That's a dumb question. So I'm going to ban you. You're asking dumb questions. Luna DC says, humor doesn't always have to be misfortune, right? I don't know about that, because when I think of humor, like, when I think of, like, the funniest thing that I can think of is, like, someone wrecking their bicycle, basically. That's, like, the funniest thing that I could possibly think of is someone wrecking their bike. I don't know what it is about that, but now that I learned this thing about humor and laughing and stuff like that and smiling, basically, it seems like I'm laughing at their misfortune, obviously. And when I look at like some of my favorite comedians, like Owen Benjamin, Jesse Peterson's pretty funny, and he's even Christian based. Like, it's all kind of based on misfortune, even though it's like based on truth at the same time. It's still based on misfortune, you know? Bam says, what's this smiling about? Another brainwash or what? I never like to smile, and they always tell you to smile for the picture. Yeah, I know. And so I understand this, I think, like, very well. Maybe some people don't, but if you look at like old pictures of me and stuff like that, like, I hardly ever smile. It's like I never liked smiling for the camera. And my brother would always say, like, oh, you're ruining the picture, you know what I mean? Like, you're always ruining the pictures, you know what I mean? He would like give me shit for it. But now that I've met this Matrimarch guy, I don't feel so bad. Maven says, wouldn't it be better to use the words constructive and destructive rather than good or evil? That's another way to look at it. I like evil, though, because everybody understands evil, you know? Eat raw meat. Grandpa told me that back then people gathered in taverns and all just talked and sang together. Exactly. Bam says, West, you look different. Yeah, I got some sun and probably the beard. Something to do with it. Jason Smith says, smiling for pictures feels so fake. I don't do it. I think the old pictures from the 19th century where everyone looks stoic is much better. Yeah, I'm telling you, man. I'm telling you, I'm red pilling you guys on smiling. See, I'm smiling here. I don't know why that made me smile. Don't ask me why that made me smile. I'm still programmed to smile because I was taught to smile at shit. At just dumb shit from a very early age. You know what I mean? So I'm still programmed. I've just recently become red pilled on the smiling thing. Luna DC hated those home videos. Everyone laughing and I felt like an alien. Exactly. Luna DC, sure, a lot is based on misfortune in comparison. Yeah. It's like, it seems like a lot of humor is based on misfortune, man. Unless, I mean, even if you're being just like a total goofball, like a slapstick goofball, like Jim Carrey, even though I hate that guy. I don't hate him, but he's kind of a piece of crap. But even if you like take like some kind of slapstick humor guy, you're laughing at them because no man should be acting like that in real life. You know what I mean? So you're laughing at the fact that like a grown man is acting like an idiot. You know what I mean? Eat Raw Meat says, there was a good example right now. Wes didn't like what Aries said and then laughed very briefly at it because he didn't like what Aries said. Laughing isn't a good thing. Interesting. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, she was like criticizing, what was the first thing she said? Oh yeah, why we don't smile? Criticizing that we don't smile and we're monotone. Those are just dumb things to bring up. Maybe this stream is just, maybe you're not tall enough for this ride, Aries. Maybe you just don't understand this stream or something. Jason Smith, us laughing at others' misfortunes could also be programming. Yeah, I think it is. That's what I think a lot of this stuff is. A lot of the smiling and laughing is programming. Beyond Me says, I still laugh when I picture you getting tripped by your dog since that you're so tall. That would have been hilarious seeing that. Yeah, it would have been freaking hilarious, dude. Imagine if I would have been, if I had my GoPro out when that happened and I was like holding my GoPro, sprinting downhill and my dogs tripped me. Yeah. When I tripped going downhill, running full speed, that was like, one of the most ridiculous things I've ever done. Don't ever sprint with two dogs downhill on concrete. Not a good idea, man. Luna says, evil can be constructive too, though. You could sometimes got to break something down to have space for something new. I'd need an example of that to see what you mean by that. Eat Raw Meat says, you just smiled at telling us because you don't like being programmed. Interesting, isn't it? Smiling is a sign of discomfort. Yeah, is that what it is? Huh. What's up, Z Fu? Hero says, laughing as a way of stress release. I read in a psychology book. Makes sense. Eat Raw Meat. Cats act funny because they are bored. Oh yeah, cats are tortured, dude. They feed them kibble and lock them inside a house. They're like murderous animals. They should be outside, like hopping and jumping around. Israth says, people smile in pictures because it's better than looking at someone smiling than looking at someone pissed off. Is that true though? Or is it just because we're programmed to believe that when you're not smiling, that you're actually pissed off, you know? Hero says, you laugh at misfortune because within you are happy it's not happening to you and you release the stress. Yeah, I think it's that. Yeah, it's you're happy it's not you because maybe we're connected in invisible ways, like our spirits are connected with other people. And so you realize it could have been you, but it's not happening to you. But you still like have compassion for that person that it happened to them, and that's why you laugh, because it was actually so close to you, much closer to you than you thought at happening to you. I don't know, we're getting a little into the weeds there, but yeah, I think when you laugh at misfortune, it's because, Well, it's also interesting because you learn how to not do that. You ever thought about that? You know? WT, I know cats are bored. They just need to be hunting instead. Exactly. They need to go outside, dude. The happiest cats I've ever seen are the ones running around, playing in sewers, killing rats and stuff. Eat raw meat. I just remembered hearing that people back then in those black and white pictures days never smiled for pictures because the camera picture taking time was too long. That's what they say. Yeah. Eat raw meat says, I call bullshit because they just didn't smile because they know what's up. Right. Like, why would you smile? Think about it, man. Think about why you smile. You can easily answer this stuff by just looking within yourself. Most of the time you're smiling because you feel uncomfortable because you're not smiling. Because you're afraid that people are going to think you're a big meanie or something, you know what I mean? Probably the same thing with having a monotone voice, I guess, you know? It's like I don't feel the urge to animate myself and become like entertaining to others because I just don't it doesn't make me uncomfortable to think that other people are not entertained by me. So that's why I don't give a shit about animating my voice, and I've never really cared about that. Maybe I could have answered that. I'm sure Princess can still hear me, but Caleb, why smile in pictures? Would you smile at a stranger you never met? Yeah, it's kind of like, well, it's like why smile in pictures? Why smile when you're looking in a camera? Why smile when you're looking in like a video camera? Why should I smile when I'm staring at my computer screen right now? I'm not looking at you guys. You know what I mean? I'm staring at a web camera right here. So why should I smile at that? Martin O'Donnell says our grandparents and great grandparents laugh and smile at us because we are denatured and mentally ill from vaccines and grains. That's actually kind of funny. Laughing at the misfortune of ourselves. Molesy Blue smiling just seems fake to me, for sure. Jason Smith, yeah, sometimes when I'm saying something bad to someone, I kind of smile. I always wondered why I do that. I know. And sometimes when you tell like a morbid story or something like that, it like my grandpa would do that, you know what I mean? Like he would tell some story where like somebody got like hurt really badly or something, and it would always be like a little bit of a smile behind it. It was kind of weird. And he's like a good Christian man. WT, overthinking smiling much. I think it's interesting though, man. BP, search the guy sitting and smiling guy, Benjamin Bennett on YouTube. He sits and smiles for like 4 hours straight and he doesn't move. He even pissed himself one time. Eat raw meat, you are uncomfortable because you know the truth and you know you can't change other people around you. That's why you smile. You want them to change for the better and can do nothing. Right. Ziggy21, you gotta try salmon liver. Where do you get salmon liver? Eat raw meat says, yes, that Benjamin guy is creepy as fuck. Interesting. What makes you think that? And I don't care what anybody thinks either way about Owen Benjamin, but what makes you think he's creepy, man? I'm interested on your insight on that. Because the more I started kind of getting into the streams, and after I got banned, and then after I started just seeing the whole like the bear organization, I started thinking that was kind of weird too. Like almost like he's just kind of doing it all for money. even though he says he's not doing it for money. It's really kind of weird, dude. He's like, I just do all these streams for free. I do them for you guys. While he's opening up letters and collecting silver and coins and stuff. It's like, what do you mean you're doing it for nothing? While everybody's sending you like cash in the mail. It's like, not judging, just trying to discern whether this guy is good or evil. You know what I mean? Eat Raw Meat says, back then when I was a pussy, when something creeped me out, I got scared. Now I get angry and want to attack or destroy stuff that creepies me out. Luna DC says, not monotone. Yeah, the reason I banned that girl is because she was like generalizing all raw meat eaters between me and Gatis. So it was like she was really just taking a shot at me and Gatis because we're just like stoic and whatever, and trying to say why are all raw meat eaters like this. It was really just kind of like she just didn't seem very smart. Israth says, the reason I think animals don't smile is because they don't communicate through languages like us. True. Yo AR says, I smile to break people's gaze when they are staring at me. Interesting. French carnivore just got 54 eggs for $6. Soy-free organic pasture, 2 orange yolk. That's cheap, dude. Where'd you get that at? $6, huh? Luna DC says, yes, they communicate through scent. That's why they smell each other's butt. Or get angry when you're scared and sweat. Huh. We can do that too, but we subconsciously, and we cover our scent with perfumes. Interesting. Because in day-to-day jobs, we sweat like crazy by use of uncomfortability and being scared. Yeah. French carnivore Owen is a good dude, just lost. Yeah. Yeah, he's like a big brother, you know? I feel the same way about my brothers that I do Owen, you know what I mean? It's like I love the guys, but some people you just can't save, you know what I mean? God helps those who help themselves, as my 8th grade teacher would say to us every single day in class. Still in my head today. Caleb says, some people will try to clown you with a fake smile if you refuse to smile, but they quickly become uncomfortable when they realize they can't control you. Is that what it is? It's a control thing, huh? Like a manipulation thing. Eat Raw Meat says, I didn't mean Owen Benjamin. I meant that smiling Benjamin dude pissing himself. Gotcha. He has a manic smile. He just sits for hours smiling at the camera. Wow. Jason Smith, did you have a good time with your guest last night? Yeah, it was just a friend. Just a nice little chill session. Hero says, if someone puts an emphasis on not working for money, they're probably working for money. If someone isn't working for money, indeed, they'll never mention money like you never mention it. That's what I was thinking. If you're not working for money, why would you have to say it? You know what I mean? I don't know. Yeah, the Owen Benjamin thing is very interesting, man. very, very interesting. Love Gotis. Yes, he's cool, man. UI. Good morning, Wes. Good morning. Keep that facial hair. Real men don't shave, as GLP would say. Haha. Yeah, it's crazy. I got like a box of 100 razors and like this really cool old school like razor, like double sided and stuff. And I used it just a few times, but I just like, I don't know. I don't think I'm gonna shave anymore. Luna DCS, the facial hair suits you. Thank you. Appreciate that. Makes me feel a little better about it. It definitely grows in thick. I don't have to worry about like patches and stuff. WT says, I shave, don't need hair to be a man. That's true. That's true, man. Real man comes from the inside. But it helps to have a little hair on your face. People seem to, there's one thing I noticed when I grew hair on my face. People 100% like respect me differently with a beard. There's no doubt about it. People look at you in the eyes better. That's also something that happens. There's more eye contact. It's really weird, man. There's definitely some sort of extra power that comes to the beard. UI says, Owen Benjamin is anything but lost. He went from Hollywood comic living in the big city to building an entire farm homestead for his family in like 2 years. Yeah, I agree, but the only reason he did that is because he was kicked out. He didn't just wake up one day and go, you know what, I'm going to make a homestead with goats and chickens. He did it because he had to. You got to remember that. It kind of changes the whole concept of it. Because, you know, he's trying to make it look like, and I'm not trying to criticize the guy hard or anything, I'm just trying to tell the truth here. He's trying to make it look like he got super woke one day and just woke up one day and was like, what am I doing in Hollywood? I got to get the hell out of here. Let's pack up and go make a farm. That's not what happened at all. He got a little too mouthy on social media and lost his career, and then got blackballed by the industry. And so he had to go move. He tried to move in with his brother's town, and they wouldn't have him there either. He got basically kicked out of multiple towns, man. So, you know, I would say he's definitely slightly a bit lost. He's finding himself. He's finding himself for sure. But, you know, I have no problems criticizing the guy because that's all he's done for the last like 2 years is criticized everybody in the world. So he has a little bit back coming to him, you know, especially after they all banned me and then he made fun of people. He made fun of us for like complaining to him about being banned, and it was just all like really annoying, man. So I don't know. Maybe we're in different positions. Maybe we see things a little differently, but I think he's definitely on his way. I'm trying not to judge him. I'm just trying to just discern the truth, fact from fiction here. I don't think he's being 100% honest with us and with himself. And I can see some things in him that he probably doesn't see in himself, you know, like you guys probably see in me that I don't see in myself. So just we're all here to help each other, man. And the problem is it seems Owen doesn't want help from other people. And that's kind of, you know. But I wish him the best. I really do, man. Because I like I said, I look at him like a brother. And he's in like a growing process right now. And I think in 5 years, you're going to see he's going to be like a totally different person, you know. He's on his way, man. He's on his way. Jason Smith, there's a word for people without beards, women and children. I like your picture, too. This is like old school. Is that old school president or something? Jace Lightwood, you look really healthy. Man, I feel really healthy today. Feeling good, man. Health is just getting better and better. The raw meat, it's doing its job. You take any supplements at all? No, I do salt baths every once in a while, like magnesium salt baths. This one's got extra doo-doo on it. And every once in a while I use like iodine transdermally, but not very often at all. Gregory says beards make men look better 100%. I agree. But I think beards only make you look better when you're actually like healthy, like legit healthy. I don't think a beard looked that good on me when I had a beard like probably 5 years ago, 6 years ago. And basically, I was like, drinking and smoking weed and eating junk food and shit. And it's like, you need to have like a healthy face underneath the beard. UI, he wasn't kicked out. He had the option to apologize and take down his bigoted tweet. He chose to do that, and he knew it would mean getting blackballed. Maybe you're right. Maybe you're right, yeah. All I'm saying is that, yeah. All I'm saying is that be skeptical of anybody. You know what I'm saying? And just be critical. Use your own discernment. Don't use his discernment. Use your own discernment. You know what I mean? But and I'm not against Owen. I'm not for Owen. I'm not. It's just whatever. He's a totally different person. He's doing his own thing or whatever. But I do honestly wish him the best, man, because I know that he's in like a huge growing phase right now. So he's definitely on his way. But I think there's some definite, he needs to become like a little bit more honest with himself, because he's clearly got anger. And you can't have anger and have God at the same time. And he mentions God, and he mentions that he's got this relationship with God. But when you have that much anger, man, it's like you're serving the devil. So, eat raw meat. God has got me into growing my hair and beard. I look better now and feel better. It's weird. It does make you feel better. Israel, what do you think about coronavirus? Probably a bunch of horse crap. Either man-made or it's just some detoxification from pollution. Eat raw meat. I also never wore hats or something like this. Now I use a bandana or cap that I wear reversed. I do this because I don't want to put chemical shit in my head to keep it informed. I couldn't disagree more. He talks about his own flaws constantly. Ever since he started live streaming, he's talked about his own failures and issues practically every day. He makes me want kids. Yeah, he's very inspirational in a lot of ways. You know what I mean? I'm not trying to totally slam the guy. I'm just, I'm being critical of him like he's been critical of everybody else. You know what I'm saying? He's been critical of people that do what I do. You know what I mean? That do like nutrition live streams. He says it's feminine. Like, sorry, buddy, eating raw meat and raw beef brains and bones and bone marrow is like one of the least feminine things on the planet. You know what I mean? So it's just like any person with like a genius IQ, like Ogenes Funderplanets, like Owen Benjamin, like myself, we're going to have these huge blind spots. You know what I mean? Major blind spots. You know what I mean? My blind spots are different than Owen's blind spots. You know what I mean? I think I probably have a more analytical mind than him, so I can see these things and these flaws in him that he doesn't see. I'm probably more along the mind state of someone like Vox Day, but I do have a little bit of splash of Owen's, whatever you want to call it, neurology, because I'm also, I guess you could say, like a musician, so I do have a lot of things in common with him as well, but he's got flaws, man. He's got major flaws, and for someone to bring up his flaws, like there's flaws that he has that he doesn't bring up on his live stream, like his anger. You know what I mean? Like the dude, he's got some major anger issues, man, towards his father, towards Hollywood, and stuff like that. And nobody with anger issues should be a leader of men. You know what I mean? Because it's an evil spirit, So and that's why he's kind of, you get back what you put out. You know what I mean? And he's put out a lot of anger towards Hollywood and stuff like that, and that's why he's gotten so much backlash. You know what I mean? It's definitely, there's a lesson to be learned there, man. And I'm not saying he's probably the funniest dude on the planet. You know what I mean? He's very smart, very talented guy, very charming dude, but he's got to cut the anger out, man. Jason Smith, the great Thomas Jefferson. That's what I was gonna guess. I didn't want to misguess it. Lunas is imagine your dad being called Jeffer, and you're Jefferson. WT, it might be doo-doo. It's definitely doo-doo. Chugging them chicken periods. Oh, yeah. Why can low testosterone soy boys grow big beards? The body's resilient, man. The body's resilient. But I don't know. I think some of that's probably genetic. Some of that has to do with like puberty, you know? Because the beard is called like a secondary sexual characteristic. Like you have primary sexual characteristics, which is like basically your dick and balls. And, you know, for women, it's like the vagina and breasts. But then you have secondary sexual characteristics, which are like beards, muscles, stuff like that. And so, yeah, it's all depends on like puberty, man. You know, some people's puberties are different because they're getting less nutrients. Some are getting more nutrients. So maybe the soy boys had like a really good puberty, but then they got like sick after that. You know what I mean? Eat raw meat. I think that women only look good with long hair. I agree, man. All those short-haired feminists don't look good. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of short hair. All those stylish hairstyles. Yeah, you guys got that big over there in Europe too. Yeah, long hair is where it's at, ladies. Long. The longest you can get. WT, do you eat pork? I haven't seen you eat pork yet. Yeah, so I kind of ran into some issues. I like dry age that pork for like a month in my garage, and like I don't know if I want to eat it because it's been hanging, just dry aging on a rack. I think I might give a lot of that to my pups, unfortunately, and it's like really high grade pork. But I think I might cut into the middle of it and maybe cut a pork steak out and do a stream. Hero says, I got a high IQ because my dad had a fish restaurant and was the main fish supplier. Fish consumption and IQ are definitely related. Interesting. UI. Yeah, that's just mental illness. To call free diet advice on the interwebs feminine. He's smarter than that. Maybe he'll come around eventually. Vox Day probably keeps Owen sane like a secondary dad. Yeah. Yeah, like I said, Vox has got, in the words of Owen Benjamin, who he's articulated very well, he said that Vox Day is psychotically intelligent. And in a lot of ways he is, because he's got, in certain, like your IQ comes distributed into like different forms. Like you're going to have like reading comprehension, mathematical comprehension, and abstract reasoning and all this shit. Your IQ is going to be different for all these different things. You know what I mean? Like I think mine averaged out to like 145, you know, when I tested, but my math IQ might be in the 150s or maybe even 160s because I was able to understand math on like a super insane level, and I was able to understand reading comprehension. Like my reading comprehension is like off the charts, you know what I mean? So that might be higher. That might be in the 150s too. But my other stuff, you know what I mean, might be in the 130s, 140s, and that's how it averaged out to like 145, you know? But having like a super high like mathematical comprehension skill, you know what I mean, which also helped me like produce music, because music and math is like totally correlated. Vox Day also produced music. I have a lot in common with these guys. It's actually really weird. It's weird to me to realize that. But having that kind of like high analytical, like mathematical ability, you can use that in other areas besides math. You don't have to put your brain in a jar in a mathematical institute and become a freaking calculator for somebody. You can use that analyzation for other things, you know? And so it can help you learn in other areas. I think that's the whole point of it. Eat raw meat says also wearing glasses. That's ugly as fuck. That's funny, because I'm laughing at the misfortune of someone else. That's why it's funny. Luna says no, breasts are secondary too. Are they really? I thought breasts were primary. Yeah, I guess you're right. Breasts are secondary because it's not necessary for reproduction. Good point. Thanks for the correction. See? I got a high IQ and I'm wrong about shit. Happens all the time. It's not about IQ, guys. It's about wisdom. Hero says, that's actually true, Wes. My brother can't grow a beard and got a small peepee because he got less nutrients. Oh, that sucks. That sucks, man. Is he your older brother or younger brother, Hero? WT says, soy men, we are not boys. Israth says, do you ever just munch on bones like your dogs do? I eat bone marrow, but I don't think my teeth are designed, my jaw isn't strong enough. Luna says, my math sucks though, my dad's too, but also gifted. Yeah, I think that's probably fairly common with women, man. But, you know, that's no disrespect to women, but I think men are generally like way better at women than at math. Jason says, when I was a kid and hunted squirrel, I would boil the bones in soup for a while and they were edible. Interesting. Squirrel bone broth. Jason says it's so nutty and delicious. Interesting. That does sound really good. It's like the nut oils have been converted to animal oils and it's amazing. Interesting, man. Luna says, high IQ and not knowing a lot of basic stuff it doesn't interest you like other more complicated things. Definitely. Yeah, that has something to do with it. And also high IQ being correlated with like social dysfunction because your IQ is like so much higher than everybody else's that you're incapable of having a normal like deep conversation with somebody because you either just completely lose them on it or they bore the living shit out of you and you don't want to talk to them anymore. I have honestly, I mean, not to sound arrogant, man, but I have ran into that so many freaking times in my life that I almost just like stopped, like until I got this channel, I just like stopped reaching out to people because it was like, it's like no one understood what the fuck I was talking about. And I thought everybody was like dumb, you know what I mean? Now I realize that it's not about dumbness or intelligence or anything like that. It's more about just being a good person and having a good spirit and stuff like that, and kind of just, it's not so much about intellectual stuff. Life is a lot more simpler than that. You know what I mean? You don't always have to be able to have like a deep conversation with somebody in order to connect with them. You can connect on just really basic levels. Like this is a prime example. This doesn't matter what your IQ is or anything. If we can eat raw meat together, that's a great way to connect with somebody, you know? Hero says, younger brother, definitely. Interesting. Yeah, my younger brother, he's like same thing with me, man. He's like I don't think he has a smaller peepee though, but he's like way less muscular than me. I think we have the same peepee though. But yeah, I got like way more muscular structure than my little brother, and we came from the same dad. So I think it's less nutrients from the mom and dad, or from the mom. Eat raw meat. Red pill guys have many things in common, like analytical mind. Maybe that's why we are even red pilled. We see the brainwash and break out of the programming. Definitely. Luna DC, that's why some people sometimes don't believe you might be genius because of weird small incompetencies. Yeah, well, and I think it's also because lower IQ people don't understand, they have no idea what it would be like to have like a higher IQ, but a higher IQ person can definitely understand what it's like to have a lower IQ, if that makes any sense. And also because genius is not measured in IQ, it's measured in success. So that's why anybody that claims they're a genius, which if you've noticed my streams, I've never said I was a genius. I always say that I've been measured at a genius IQ, but genius is always measured by success. So that's why I think people are skeptical of people that say they're geniuses, because a lot of them are not successful and they have nothing to show for it. And it's true. You're not a genius if you're not successful. William Loud, do you feel more mentally sharp after going carnivore? Oh yeah, dude. Way more sharp. Way more sharp. Absolutely. You can probably track. This is why I'm doing this channel, because I knew this would be like a super transformation. But if you look at my old channel, like Natural Human Diet Archive, you can probably see like a major difference in just my thinking skills. Gregory says, I'm going to go to my backyard and hunt some squirrel. Yeah, I think I might. I'm going to go about another 10 minutes here, guys, and I got to go get some sunshine. I'm sure you guys aren't going to hate me for that. Go out and get some real vitamin D. Eat raw meat says they want to get the upper hand and make you look small. Yeah, it is about control. Because higher IQ people are more vulnerable in a lot of ways too, you know? Because we're more like trusting and a lot more socially naive. Linda DC says, people don't understand you and you look at you weird, and they might even think you are dumb because they think you don't make sense just because you don't to them. Right. I've done that to people. Hero says, if you differ at 40 IQ points with people, you can't really relate to them, or they can't relate to you because they have a lower IQ. Is it 40? I thought it was 20. That makes me feel a little bit better. If it's 40, that makes more sense. Because I can usually get along, I can relate to anybody down to like an average IQ. But when you start getting down to below average IQ, I start to really question people. Like, it starts to get almost like annoying, you know? Jason, do you know when your ancestors landed in America? I found out some of my ancestors landed in the colony of Virginia in late 17th century, and others landed here in 1718. Fought in the Revolution. I don't. How do you find that out? I did a genetic test, but I don't think it necessarily tracks that stuff. But you know what? I don't know. I'd have to. I think. I'm not 100% sure. Not 100% sure. I know that my great grandpa came from Germany, and he like spoke German and everything. And so my great grandpa actually had like a slight German accent, which is very interesting. So that's how close I am to the German stuff. I grew up with a great grandparent that had a German accent. So that side of my family, my mom's dad, they came from Germany for sure. But my mom's mom, I believe, is different. I think they were traceable back to some of those earlier people. Because I think that I did that 23andMe test, and it said that I'm related to someone way back then. Eat raw meat. Eating meat with someone is a strong bonding experience. Yes, it is. Luna Ducey says sharing meat. This stuff sounds kind of funny. Hero says, I had to learn that not talking about anything sometimes is better than with people of lower IQ, because it fries their brains when you start red pilling them too much. It's too big of to swallow for them. Yeah, it does fry them out. It stresses them out. Because actually thinking uses up a lot of your bodily resources. I don't know if you guys realize this, but this is something that I realized this year, that using your brain, this goes back to the whole becoming a mathematician, going crazy from studying math. Using your brain uses up almost more of your bodily resources than actually doing just physical activity. So you have to be careful about that, man. Be careful about using your brain too much. Hyper carnivore just had some alligator ribs. I live in South Florida, so it's easy to come by. Dang, how was that? Eat raw meat. If you talk about this by yourself, you'll get frustrated because they don't understand. WT says, I share my meat, but people turn it down because it's raw. Misguided children of the food lie. That's funny. It's mixing a little Jesse Peterson with the raw red pill. Eat raw meat like Gatas would say. What do you not understand, you slave? It's funny. I would love to have a Sparia soundboard, haha, that would be funny. Beyond me, so how do you define success? Good question. Good question. Health? I would say strong health is a great measurement of success. Inner peace. Inner peace is also probably a good measurement of his success. Strong family bonds, strong friendship bonds. Having like a workable skill that you can use to build a home for yourself and obtain resources. Really simple stuff like that. Hypercarnivore, I feel mental clarity. I don't get angry or frustrated. It's like I'm high all the time. Ever since I went animal-based, my skin cleared up. No more joint pain or itchy skin. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I feel the same way, man. Like I tell people all the time, people ask me what this diet did for me. I'm like, oh man, I could talk to you for 7 hours about it. It completely changed my whole life, man. Changed who I am from the inside out. Ancestry DNA, John Gross says, Ancestry DNA does, buddy. Yeah, interesting. I'd have to look at my 23andMe. They did say some stuff like that, but maybe the ancestry goes a little deeper into it. I might have to look into that. Jason says, I found it out from my grandfather on both sides. That's cool. Gregory says, do I have a low IQ if I don't have the patience to take an IQ test? No, I just think you have low patience. That doesn't have anything to do with IQ. Patience is something you have to learn, man. Luna DC, yeah, good question. And success, it's what you see as an achievement on your goals, not other people's. Beyond me, I was once told by a multimillionaire that success has nothing to do with money. Makes sense. Ask uncles and grandparents if they know of any books on your family's history. We do have some really, really good genealogical stuff. So I'd have to look into that. Hero says a higher IQ is developed due to higher stress exposure. You got to be smart to survive in a rough place or situation. That's very interesting. Yeah, I was definitely born into extremely, extremely stressful situation. Matt F says, I would also say doing what you want to do is also a measure of success. That makes sense. Aisha says, hi there, can you unblock Aries Princess, please? She didn't want to offend you, and thanks for reading. Yeah, I'll unblock her. Sure. All right, done. Sometimes I jump the gun on blocking people, so I think everybody deserves a second chance. And I truly believe that. So if you ask to be unblocked, I will unblock you. And that goes for anybody. I guess I should maybe show a little bit more patience. Patience is something I'm still learning, my friends. I'm still learning. But you guys know I deal with, just to explain to everybody, okay? Ever since I've started this channel, I have had nonstop people attacking me, disrespecting me, leaving horrible comments, really nasty shit on my channel. It's been relentless ever since I started this channel. So I've had to just constantly block people just forever. Like the list, when you go into my blocking thing, it's like super long. So just to give you an idea of what I've been dealing with, I don't talk about it a whole lot and I don't tell people about it because it's not that big of a deal to me. But that's why I block people just without question. You know what I mean? It's not any personal disrespect towards the person or anything. I want to make sure that the conversation is streamlined and we're able to basically have a good time here. You know what I mean? But and sometimes I do misunderstand people because we're not in person, so there's no nuance, there's no context. So I will admit that sometimes it's my fault because I'm not understanding your particular nuance or context that you're putting on the comment. So if that is the case, that's my apologies. That has happened before. I've banned people like Wolfshan, who's like a loyal watcher of my channel, you know. I banned him for saying something one time and it was not what he meant to say. Hero says, I think you can raise your IQ by raising your musical intelligence too. My music school teacher said that once the more sounds you learn, the more new connections you introduce to your brain. That makes a lot of sense. That makes a lot of sense, man. Because music is like a whole brained, it uses your whole brain, you know? I realized that when I was creating all that music on a Reason. Speaking of that, I'm sure you guys have already seen it. Let's see. I've had people ask about my piano back here, if I play piano. So this is my music channel. This is what I used my keyboard and piano for. If anybody's interested in listening to my tracks that I made back in 2009. There it is. But yeah, so I was going to say when I was producing that music with Reason, and I had this whole thing, this concept of whole brain and left brain and right brain going on, and like I think I'm definitely more of like a whole brain thinker. But when you're creating music, when you're producing music from beginning to end, where you're just designing everything from beginning to end, right? You're doing the melodies, the drum tracks, and then you're also constructing the music. You're making the peaks and valleys. You're making, you know, the beats drop out, the beats come back in, the melodies changing and all that stuff. You're having to use your left and your right side. So you're having to use basically your logical analytical side, where you're like slicing stuff up and you're ordering things together. And then you're also using your kind of like your broader side, your more artistic side, where you construct it and you compile it together into this whole creation of something that looks good as you look at it as a whole. So you got to be able to like analyze something from the whole and then analyze something from individual pieces as well. You know what I mean? That's all. I think we're all meant to think that way, ideally. Dang, Luna says, what color am I thinking of? I was gonna guess, but everybody guessed first. Jason Smith got it. Aries Princess, I was actually asking as I had noticed with raw meat eaters have a higher IQ than those that had a diet of mostly meat, which is strange that you went to the subject of IQ scores. Yeah. Hey, sorry if I misunderstood you there. I apologize. I wasn't sure really what you were getting at. It sounded like you were like criticizing, but if you were genuinely curious, then I apologize for banning you. You're welcome back. Gregory says, what color am I thinking of? I'm wearing a Lakers shirt. Yes, that's crazy. So Luna guessed it. Weird. That's crazy. We're all aligned. All right, so now let me try it. All right, what color am I thinking of? Aries Princess, no, I wasn't criticizing at all, and thanks for having me back. Yeah, no problem. Hey, that was my fault. Like I said, sometimes since we're not talking in person, I don't understand nuance and stuff like that. And like I explained earlier, um, I've dealt with like probably at least 100 people since I've started this channel that have just been just like really rude and stuff like that for no reason. So sometimes it can come off like that, and it really isn't. That's not what it actually is. So glad to have you back. Nobody's guessed it yet. Nobody's guessed it. I'm surprised. We got red, purple, green, orange, orange. It was almost orange. It was almost orange. But then I changed it. Red, gray. No. There's only a few left now. Magenta. You got it, buddy. Black. It was black. I knew someone would say that too. Luna goes, no black or white. That's just lack of color. Yeah, I know. I knew someone would say that, but that's my outside the box thinking for you. I was thinking black. Eat Raw Meat says your number is 7. Yeah, I love 7. Oh, you guys are guessing someone else's number. Don't change, LOL. I know. See, yeah, I actually changed it. So it was orange. Here, dude, here's a good experiment for you guys. You guys just made me think of something. This is a really, really cool one. So this is an experiment that I've done successfully like 6 times in a row with somebody, and I've done this multiple times with people. It's the experiment of you want to see if someone's looking at you or not. So go with like a friend and have them like stare at your back, right? And they'll either have their eyes open or their eyes closed, right? And you have to guess whether they're looking at you or they're not looking at you. And a lot of times, basically, this test proves that you can tell if someone's looking at you or not. That's the theory behind it. And I swear to God, I've done this multiple times in a row with people, and I've guessed whether they were looking at me or not. So you just close your eyes, and you have someone else behind you either have their eyes open or their eyes closed looking at you. And you just try to feel if you can sense the difference of whether they're looking at you or not. And you'll be really surprised that you can tell when someone's looking at you. And I challenge you guys to try this with your friends or your boyfriend or girlfriend or whoever is in the house with you. Try it out. It works. Daniel says, black was my first thought, but I was like, no, he won't. Yes, I will. I know you guys say black isn't a color, but I disagree. I think black is a great color. I think it's a great color. Yeah, booze is no good, man. Ditch the booze, brother. What's up, Patchy? Good to see you, man. Eat raw meat. Can you feel me looking at you right now? Luna DC's now, and I have a number if you still like to guess. I'm gonna guess your number, Luna. Aries says, strange question, what star sign are you? If you mean like the birth date stuff, I am Cancer. She's not thinking of one yet. Oh, under 10? That's funny. I would say since there's 38 people here, I would do up to 50. All right, you're doing under 10. Yeah, are we doing decimals? Are we doing real and unreal numbers and rational and irrational numbers? 1 to 10, 75% take the number 7. Interesting. Matt F. Does Aujin say how long full detox takes? Yeah, I think he said 40 years to fully like replace all the cells in your body. But I would say in my experiences on this diet, like the first year and a half is like kind of brutal because you go through a bunch of like little colds and flus here and then. You know what I mean? Some of them are pretty rough, but just a handful. Like I think less than 5 I had. But I feel really good now. I feel like I don't have really that many detoxes left in me, if that makes sense. I feel like I've cleared a lot of this stuff out. Matt F., what kind of studies did he do to determine that? He did a lot of stuff in a lab with petri dishes, and I think he just based it on cellular division and stuff like that, you know, like real basic concepts. But I think I gotta wrap up here, guys. This has been a good stream. I gotta go out and get some of this sunshine. Thank you all for joining me. Another good conversation. Don't forget to look up the Unabomber Manifesto, everybody. I'm just kidding, but it's interesting. It's definitely interesting. But everybody take it easy. Everybody keep eating raw meat. God bless. See you next time.